one of the best pieces of advice that I've ever gotten, and it was the hardest pill to swallow, was to take responsibility for everything, for every single thing in your life, for where you are. And I've noticed something that I do and that a lot of people do, and I'm trying to do less of, is when something goes wrong or there's something you don't like, a lot of us automatically, because we've been doing it for so long, it's just automatic that we look to put the blame elsewhere. Whether it's our parents, whether it's the economy, whatever it may be. The weather, it could be a million different things, and we can do it for anything. We can justifiably put the blame from anything in your life on somebody else. You could do it for anything if you want. But this doesn't help you in the slightest. It may make you feel better on the surface. And that's basically what we're doing, right? We're just making ourselves feel better in the moment and on the surface. And it does us more harm in the long term. Because what it does for you is it makes you weak. Because when something goes wrong in your life, the first thing you automatically do, rather than looking to how can I fix this, rather than looking to how can this make me a better person or make me stronger, you automatically go to why this is not your fault, why it's out of your control. And then by doing it, you literally have less control in your life. And you're giving up more and more for the fact that you are not taking responsibility, that you are not saying this is, my fault, that exactly where I'm at in life is 100% my fault, my responsibility. Now I know there are certain things that you can say, well, it's out of my control. That, I didn't control where I was born and what I was born with and who my parents were and et cetera, et cetera. But if you are an adult, look, when you're a kid, a lot of things are outside of your control. You don't control what school you go to, et cetera, et cetera. But if you're an adult, excuse time is over. You're an adult, you gotta start taking responsibility for pretty much everything in your life. And doing this will not only make you a better person, it's going to make you a stronger person. And eventually it will become automatic, just like it's become automatic to find excuses for when things go wrong. It will become automatic that when something does go wrong, instead of sitting there saying, oh, it's because of he or she or this or that, what's going to happen is you're going to start looking for a solution. Rather than saying, this is because of this and this, and making excuses, you start looking for a solution. You say, well, okay, it doesn't matter why this happened because we're in the situation we're in. How can we find a solution to get out of this? And from doing that, you will become a better problem solver. You will become a better person. You'll become a more responsible person. You will become the person people go to help them solve their problems and advice. And in that way, you become a more valuable person overall. So this is just something that I've seen. It's hard to look at your life, look at the things you don't like, and just basically say, yeah, that's my fault. It's a hard pill to swallow. But I've noticed that when you do that, you grow up, right? Because that's what children do. They look at things and they say, this is not my fault, or they just lie and say oh, I didn't do it, and blah, blah, blah. And you realize that the difference between one of the big differences, not the only one, but one of the biggest differences between somebody who's grown up and has matured a little bit and somebody who hasn't is, do they try to pin the blame on stuff that goes wrong on everybody else except for themselves? Or do they take responsibility? Because that's what a leader does, right? Even when something is not a leader's fault, a leader doesn't care whose fault it is, my fault, their fault. They take responsibility and say, they take the responsibility to try to fix it. The fault is, it doesn't matter, right? Who's at fault is completely irrelevant. What matters is, can we make it better? Can we learn from it? Can we grow from it? And can we find a solution?